Hi, Jeff, Mayor, and Allison. Hope you guys are having a great day today. This is Mayor's video lesson. Let's see here, three things I want to talk about. I'll talk about those three things. And if you have questions or want me to look at anything, feel free to shoot it over in a message and I'll be more than happy to answer. So let's get to it. So first thing is kind of building off what we talked about last time, which is our flowers going up, 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 which is really a huge piece for the next, I think, 2 or 3 songs that we're going to work on. If you get this down, it's actually a big component of all of those songs, so it's worth learning. So what that is that's that G, A, B, C, D, D, D. And this is our first scale, and scales are super awesome to practice because it works on our left hand positioning, works on right and left hand coordination and synchronization, and it's good ear training. If you can hear a scale, that goes a long way in figuring out tunes in the future. A big thing on this one is, so I just gotta go through my checklist, is that left hand, making sure that wrist is straight right here, thumbs up on the back of the neck. We get that little mouse hole space right here between our hand. I think Mayor's doing really well on that. Really the big thing, I was checking my notes from last time, and the big thing for him is making sure that we're not tilting your guitar out. So what you're gonna wanna do is put like a little popper or something with like little grippies on the bottom, something small. I use a popper in the studio, those little like little semicircle domes, and you kind of put that right here on the edge of his guitar. That way if he tilts it, it's gonna slide off of his guitar or fall off his guitar. So that way it forces him to kind of like have a mental check, or a visual check that is, on if I'm tilting or not. Or it gives you something to look at, make sure you're staying on task. And then other thing is taking little like toys and putting on his knees or on his feet. I usually put one on the left and the right foot, and then one on his left knee is usually good enough. The right one's a lot harder because that's going to slide off. So making sure those are there, and then that'll make sure his guitar is staying upright and against his body. Like I said, we want to avoid this tilting business for right now. Even though it's not the biggest sin in the world at his age, you just want to kind of fix it this age rather than later, when it becomes a much harder habit to break, right? Look at my adult students. Habits that were formed over 20 years, and now it's going to take a year to break old habits. So it's much easier to do it now when they're young. So the thing is, flowers growing up, 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 right? There was a second half to that, if you're curious. There's a second half to it that goes, rain is falling down, down, down. I used to teach it that way, and then what would always happen was this. They'd be playing lightly row, lightly row, lightly row, flowers growing up, 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 rain is falling down, down, down. And I'm like, oh, no, that's the scale. It's not part of the song, but I just got rid of the second part, and people seem to do fine. Anyway, so work on flowers, making sure our guitar is in the right spot. With right hand, he's doing a great job in the songs, but when during the songs, sometimes he'll switch to like one finger playing notes repeatedly, like this right here, right? And that's super common. It's something that we work on for a long time. But what you want to do to reinforce a habit of the fingers walking is actually just practice walking fingers, like no hand over here at all. Just like how long can you go for it? And so you can set up a timer, like one of those little sand timers or a stopwatch or something, and see, can you go 30 seconds by doing this? If you just make this automatic, that goes a long way in making sure you don't repeat fingers in songs, because what happens is the songs get more and more challenging. If you don't perform them a certain way, they become really difficult. Case in point was I was actually working on my comprehensive Suzuki exam, and like there was a passage I had played for years. I can't remember what it was. It was something like that, and I had always played it the thumb here and the index here, and then one day I was like, well, it's not happening that way, and then I started fingering it that way with the right hand, like bringing the thumb down, and all of a sudden magically I could play it all better. I was like, wait a minute, why was I playing it the other way for years? So what happens is like you will not be able to play that the most efficient way possible, or there will always be something off if you don't play it a certain way. And the more we can kind of make these fingers walk, the less issues you'll have further down the road when, like, it depends on the right hand. If you don't play it this way, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to make that passage. So we want to get that going now. As far as left hand, what things I would want to work on now is getting into lightly row territory, is making sure we start working on our pinky push-ups or developing this part of the hand, right? So these right here get a lot of usage from him practicing writing at school, and like, I can't remember if he's Montessori or not, but like picking up pins off the floor, doing a lot of like this kind of work, but you don't see a lot of this out there in the real world other than typing or drinking tea. And so what we want to do is get this in. And I was actually talking to my and she's a doctor, and I was asking like, oh, like, as far like all things being equal, is there a reason why this part of the hand doesn't develop as much dexterity as this part of the hand? She's like, well, it's all even across, like in terms of like musculature and everything and the muscles of the hand, like, there's nothing in here that keeps these from being any more dexterous and strong as these fingers here, except we just don't use them, right? You're gonna lean towards more this, right? But like, I'm like, so if you train these fingers harder, will they be as strong as these? And she's like, yeah, of course. And that's what I've been doing for years, right? For years I did exercises where it's like things like that to develop the same amount of dexterity in this part of the hand versus this part of the hand. So what we can do to his age to start that process of developing this part of the hand is what I call the pinky push-up. And you start kind of in this quiet coyote kind of position they do in school. So quiet coyote, but the thumb is going to be between your pointer and your middle finger right here, and the pinky is going to be like this. And lift your finger up, like so the pinky lifts up to the top of the ring finger here. You want to trace along the ring finger. So here, you trace along the ring finger, very slow. I find it more difficult to do things if I do them slow versus I just throw my hand and kind of like let momentum take over, right? So make me consciously going, I have to lift that finger slowly, requires much more muscle control, in my experience, much more muscle control than it does just flicking the fingers around, which in cases of classical guitar, you might have to play, right, where it's you might find things like that, right, where you have to slowly place the finger down versus just rapidly have it go up and down. So slow pinky push up, pinky push up down, pinky up, pinky down. Like I said, if you're working on this now will save us trouble in the future. So do that for me. Like I said, if you have any questions, fire those away over to me. If not, I'll see you guys next Thursday. Take care.